Dr. Hannes Dreyer. Oh, can you hear my Afrikaans?
Yeah, it is coming through. Strong. Strong.
Hannes, Hannes, I'm honored to have you here. I've heard so many amazing things about you. I'm actually in awe of the fact that you're here in front of me. I think you've got amazing fans. I think you've touched people's lives in such a powerful way that they become your ambassadors and they spread your gospel. At least the gospel of you wanting people to be empowered, to be independent, to be smart, to be thoughtful human beings. So to have you here, I'm extremely honored. I'm not sure if there's anything you want to say before we get into the cooking kitchen.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's part of, let's call it a blessing that you can spread the word, that you can do it in such a way.
Thank you so much.
Nowadays, with the technology that's available, you can reach people that you would never have done before. So thank you for having me.
On that, I just want to say congrats. Your YouTube channel is very impressive in terms of size, but size almost doesn't matter, at least to me, because you could be making a lot of videos that are just rubbish, but your videos are actually impactful, again, about empowerment, educating people, enriching their lives, etc. So I just want to say congrats.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. Very short. You'll just say yes, no. In 5 minutes, I think we'll probably be out of here.
Job.
Huh?
Job. Go for it.
Difficult questions, by the way. I hope you don't mind. And if you're uncomfortable with any of them, please feel free to be like, no, I don't really want to talk about that.
Okay.
And we can speak about whatever it is that you'd like.
Go for it.
Number 1, you hated school, from my understanding.
How do you know that?
I just a guess. You know, the way you're drinking water now just looks like someone who didn't really like school.
I didn't like school. I think it was a bloody waste of time.
Do you still feel the same?
I feel exactly the same. I think they educate people to become stupid in general because they don't teach you how to think. The life skills that we need as adults, they don't teach that. They want you to become a worker, right? Now, I did not fit that mold whatsoever. And for that reason, yeah, I got by. I failed my matric, by the way.
Sorry,
I'm very no, it's not sorry. It's one of the best blessings that has ever happened in my life.
Sure.
Right, so, yeah. No, I did not like school. I like the friends, and I like the athletics, and I like that stuff. But school itself, to try to memorize something like a bloody parrot in order to pass an exam, knowing that you're never going to use it again, didn't make sense to me. I like to be very, very practical. What are the results? Can I use it? Can't I use it? What can I learn from this? But not to try to memorize. Nowadays with AI and with Google, why the hell do you want to go to school? Yeah, of course you need to read and you need to write that. I think it's a good skill to have. But even today with AI, you can ask it to write stuff and you can just edit it the way that you want it.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I did not like school.
What would be your suggested alternative? We're parents, you're a grandparent. What would you ideally like to see for your grandkids?
The moment that you enter into, let's say, a business, and you understand the business, you don't need any alternative education. Why do I want to know about biology if I am an entrepreneur? Right, so it makes no sense. So I'm a mentor, and a mentor simply means this is what I've done, this has worked for me.
Sure.
And because it has worked for me, there's something that you can take that's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of effort. You don't have to go through all the bloody pain that I and my wife went through to become where we are today.
Sure.
By simply following, okay, these are the steps. And I think parents should be mentors, not parents. You're a mentor. That's the way that I see my role. And with, I call it my students, exactly the same. If I can't do something, I tell them I can't do something. If I don't know about something, I say I don't know about it. But this is what I've done. This is how it worked for me. These are the things that did not work for me. Because I had no mentors when I started, right? I had to figure this out myself. But I was extremely blessed for the simple fact that because of this educational system, I was against the whole thing. So I started querying every single thing.
Sure.
And that's, to me, it worked for me. I'm not saying that it's going to work for someone else.
Yeah.
If you study a specific line like medical or stuff like that, then of course you have to go through the system. There's no other way to do it. But if you're an entrepreneur or you want to make money, then what they've taught us and what I've done in my academic career, I was a certified financial planner like 30, 40 years ago. Bullshit. Bullshit. Those people, and unfortunately, that is so ingrained in us, to go to school to get the qualification, but it's just a brainwashing way to get you entrapped in the system. And the moment that you're in the system, you're not going to go out of the system. And for the simple fact that if your bread and butter is dependent on that system, then you're going to say what the hell the system tells you to say.
Sure. Back in the day, we used to have apprenticeship before the Industrial Revolution gave us the schooling system today. And when you mention being a mentor, it almost sounds something like that.
Absolutely.
Would you maybe recommend, again, advice for us as parents or younger parents now? The idea of saying, look, if you have to, send your child to school, but focus more on finding the type of mentors and people who have walked a path that your child can spend time with and then hopefully learn from them to get these shortcuts you speak about.
Yeah, I don't even think nowadays you have to send them. There's enough material on condition that is the right material, that is structured, on the internet available for whatever you want to know nowadays is available.
Sure.
And you can get it from different people. Maybe my personality is not going to fit someone else's personality, right? Because personalities play a huge role. You look at someone, you like them. Some people you look at, and maybe you don't like them. You don't know why. But if there's something that you can learn from that person, then learn that thing and see how you can incorporate it in your life and how you can apply it. It's no good to learn something, but you can't do it.
Sure.
If you can't do it, you've learned nothing. I
100%.
get so many students that come, yeah, I know it. Okay, show me.
Can't. Just know it.
Yeah, I know it. Of course I know how it works. Okay, show me the results.
Sure.
And then if you can't show me the results, I know that you don't know it.
You support a form of maybe home education with some practical work?
I don't necessarily support anything. At the end of the day, the child is going to grow up.
Sure.
Like myself. I started, there's a lot of things that I didn't, but I found my path along the way. I think we know who we are, even though we may not necessarily agree or say, okay, but I know. But in your DNA, that potential is there, and your job is to discover that potential. But you're going to discover that irrespective. So there's nothing wrong sending your both my children went to a normal school, right? They both know my thoughts on school. Lara, that is sitting there, at one stage came to me and she said she's battling with this and she thinks she's not going to make the matric. And I said, flippin' hallelujah. At least there's one child that's going the path of a father. And apparently that was enough motivation to motivate her not to follow her dad's footsteps. So, but that was important. So if I could fail my matric to get my child to pass the matric, not that she's using the thing. She decided very early that she's not going to go that path.
Sure.
But yeah, there's social bonds that you acquire during those formative years. You mix with a lot of different people. And I think it's later on in life, those are the skills that you'll need. So there's nothing wrong with sending your child to school. As long as you teach that child that don't believe a word they say. Pass your bloody exam, learn how memory works according to them,
Sure.
and know how to regurgitate stuff. And if you're good with that, they're going to think you're a good scholar.
Of course.
But that's not who you are. The person that you become is the person that's within you, that you were born with that potential. Your job is to make sure that you reach that potential, or that you try to reach that potential.
I've seen a quote, I don't know if it's by Mark Twain, that says the two most important days in your life, the day that you're born, and then the day that you find out why. And I think that's what you're speaking to. And it sounds like you urge everyone to say, look, shut out the noise, do what you have to get by. But inside yourself is almost like something, a gift that you were given. And you're meant to spend a chunk of your life, hopefully earlier rather than later, figuring out what that gift is so you can give it to the world.
It's actually a shame if you don't get to that gift, and then live that gift. You can know that you've got a gift, but if you're not living that gift, what the hell is the meaning of the gift?
Sure. I think Les Brown would also say the most talented people with the greatest ideas, if you're looking for them, you'll find them at a graveyard. They died with all that potential.
Yeah. One of my things that happened, I was in 1982. Nothing worked for me at that point in my life. And I read a book by Ogmandino, The Greatest Secret in the World.
The greatest secret in the world.
Yeah. And I wanted to know what the hell that secret was. So I actually bought the book while I was a policeman in 1979. I read the first couple of pages. I couldn't find the secret. I thought, this is bullshit. So, but now I was desperate. My business was failing. My mom stood security for me. So she would lose a little bit of money. But those days I thought that was the end of the world. And I read that book, and I read it several times, trying to figure out what. And then there's a verse that started this whole process in my life. In Scroll 4, it says, I'm not on this earth by chance. I'm here for a purpose. And that purpose is not to shrink into a grain of sand, but to grow into a mountain. And henceforth, I'll apply all my efforts to become the highest mountain of them all. And that verse changed my life, because up to that point, as long as you can blame someone, as long as you're not taking responsibility for your life and for what you are busy doing for what you've done, there's always a way to blame someone.
Of course.
But then you can't reach your potential, because you have to strain it. You have to discover who you are, and then you have to develop the skills in order to become the best that you can be. Not compared to other people. Before we started, you asked me who are people that I'm looking at or up or that I admire. Every single person that I meet, there's something to be admired. There's not a single person that I've ever met. Maybe I don't like the person, the way that they treat people, the way that they behave. But if you look into that person, there's something that you can admire about that person. And the moment that you start doing that, now, my job is not to try to impress the world. My job is to become the best that I can in the 7 areas of life that was given to me. That's the way that I see it.
7 areas?
Yeah, there are 7 areas. We don't understand what wealth is. So if you look at wealth, Adam Smith, the father of economy, changed the whole concept. That's where some of the hijacking started. But if you look at the core word of wealth, the Old English, W-E-A-L, well, it means well-being. It does not. It's got nothing to do with money. It's well-beingness. That's what you're looking. And there are 7 areas. There's the spiritual, the physical, the mental, the relationships, the family, the financial, the investment. The moment that you understand these are the areas, and then there are you set up your environment. So out of that, it branches out into, let's call it 10 environments. And those 10 environments is 1,000,000 times stronger than your mind, because that forms part of your subconscious mind, right? And that is what's going to dictate you, and that is why it's so extremely difficult for people to change. Yeah, they want to change, but they haven't got the, let's call it the how to change, because the 6 higher faculties of the mind powers, was hijacked by the system. So the moment that there's a belief, by the way, the belief we talk about subconscious, the belief is not in this, the subconscious, your body is the subconscious. That's where the emotion is stored. That is where the things happen. But we are not taught these things. So we think it's a mind, change your mind. These gurus that say, change your mind, it's bullshit. You can't change your mind, because let's call it the subconscious that people normally talk about, that 95% is dictated already at the moment that you are in the vicinity of 7 years, the basics are there. So the moment that there's a meta program, the moment that there's a belief system that you've got, then we've got this reticular activated system in your brain that tries to protect you, that keeps you within this comfort zone, not to be overwhelmed, right? Then that thing kicks in and it delete, distort, generalize, add information to line up with that you believe. So that becomes your truth. Therefore, you can't see that there's an alternative. That's why in some of my material you hear that I'm using the word confoculate. Confoculation is simply, you frickin' do not know that you don't know what you're supposed to know. And if you're supposed to know this and you don't know this, you're going to carry on with this that you know, because this is who you are, this is your environment, right? For the rest of your bloody life. And you're never going to get your potential because you never queried yourself, you never understood yourself, you never understood the gifts that you were given in terms of the higher faculties of the mind and the major thing to think. We think when we read a book and we regurgitate the book. That's not bloody thinking, that's a regurgitation. Anyone, years after I went, well, when I studied to become a certified financial planner, I did a course on how to memorize. And for the first time, I realized, but you can, it's a skill. If you know how to do that, I would pass with distinction all my bloody subjects with a minimum amount of time. But no one has taught me how to memorize stuff and how to make the hook so that you can give it back.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, this is the. If you don't know the potential and you don't know how the system confoculated you, how the hell are you going to, Peniel, get out of the system? We get degrees, and the more degrees you get, the more confoculated you become. Because you can't show me that you can get 100 and 200 and 1,000 and 3 million% growth on an idea, which is one of the greatest properties there are, right? If you look at what the law says property, we talk of properties, we think of a class 6 property, the house that we're sitting in. Everyone goes for a house. Why don't you develop the greatest property that you've got, your intellectual property, which is the first class of property that you've got? Because if you can develop that, the rest will fall in place. You don't have to worry. But that's just my...
I'm scared to even keep going. You know, that was our first question of 6.
Oh, no.
This is the guy who hates school. Okay, let me go through my questions, but I'm going to put a mental bookmark. How to memorize 6 classes of property.
7. Yeah.
You said we know the 6th is the physical building.
Yeah.
And you're saying the first should be intellectual property.
Yeah, it's intellectual property.
Okay.
It's your skills. It's the gifts that you've got. It's the ideas that you've got. It's the way that you think. If you don't know how to think, then that is wasted. The moment that you know how to think, right? You have to use your 6 higher faculties. So imagination is 1, perception. If you can't change your perception about something, you're going to be stuck for the rest of your life. So if that perception is you are this person, I've got a CFP or a CPA or a CA, and you identify with that, you are stuck with that identity for the rest of your life because your ego is not going to allow you
tragically
to say, okay, but flip and move on. You've got that skill, you've passed that exam, but where's the results? Right. So, yeah.
All of this stuff people can find on your YouTube channel, in your books?
They will be able to find it. I've got courses as well.
Okay.
For example, I'm busy developing a course that I've done actually, what was it, in 2004, 2005 already, but I've changed it because I've got 24 more years of experience and I can see the battles that people go through, and they haven't got the ability because no one is showing them how to put these things together. And the moment that you know how everything fits, there are 7 universal laws and that organizes everything. So if you understand how to incorporate those 7 laws, then you are set for life. You don't have to worry about anything. But it's very difficult because the system does not want you to understand that the answers are already in you.
I'm going to put your details in the description because I can only imagine, besides myself, many other people are going to want to know all these.
I'll tell you
these
what, we
things.
do even something far better than that.
Sure.
Can I give you and your audiences a couple of gifts?
Okay.
Okay, Laura has prepared something. When we're done,
Sure.
you have a look, see if you want to dish it out or not,
Thank you.
to start the process, and maybe, yeah,
Thank you so
there
much.
they can find out a little bit more about me if they want to. Most people don't want to, by the way.
No,
because
they
it
do.
work.
I think they're scared. As
Yeah,
you said, they
it's
stuck
work.
into this ego-driven and system-driven life that they're scared of their potential, I think. A very
They-
sensitive question. Sorry.
They should scared about their potential. It's a lot more comfortable to suffer and you know the environment. Your whole body is used to suffering.
Sure.
The average person. Now to tell a person that you can be free
Sure. Get out of
in
the
2
cage.
years from now on, it makes no sense to a person. They've never been there. To them, it's scary. It's more scary than to bitch, moan, and complain about your current situation.
Of course. A very personal question, and I apologize for bringing this question. You lost your father at a very young age,
7.
I believe. My understanding is that you've been a very present father in your children's lives. You're a present father in your grandchildren's lives and your in-laws or your sons-in-law as well. You've become incredibly strong, incredibly intelligent, great curious mind, and a huge shout out to your mother specifically. Do you worry sometimes that maybe your children and your grandchildren are weaker because you are present?
No, I'm not worried about that.
Okay,
That's their lives. If they want to fuck it up, this their story.
sure.
I've got no control. I've got no control of what my children are going to do, what they think, how they think. And if they want to do whatever, or they feel intimidated, as an example, it's their problem. It's not my problem.
How important is a present father in a child's life?
They're defined present.
I'd like you to please define it for me, from
If
your
you
understanding,
define present, that they are there,
physically.
you can be totally absent and be in the presence of someone 24 hours a day.
100%.
It means nothing. So maybe a far better question is to ask my family than to ask me, because my perception is not necessarily their perception,
Correct.
right? So I've got a perception that may be totally wrong in terms of how my children see me,
Sure.
right? But as long as I've got that perception, it becomes my reality. And therefore I act according to the reality, right? Let me give you a stupid example that I use in the class. If you cheat on your wife, who knows that you've cheated?
You know,
Okay? And your wife?
until she finds out, she doesn't know.
Yeah. So the problem is with you. You are causing the problem if you're cheating, right? But it's your perception that is causing the problem, right? But she doesn't know it,
Sure.
and therefore she keeps on loving you.
I've got a great husband. He does no wrong.
He's a mura, but you know what you've
Yeah.
done,
Yeah.
right? So the perception about what I think my family thinks about me is not real.
Do you think it would be a valid question to ask, to say, my understanding of a present father, or let's say an impactful father, can only be determined by my children and never by me, whether I spend every day with them or they see me once when they're 18 or they see me once during school holidays, it can only be determined by their understanding of the impact I've made in their lives?
If they've got the insight.
Okay,
If they haven't got the insight, now they default back to the system.
sure.
And now all the problems starts to come.
True.
Because according to the system, you were a bloody bad dad.
Yes.
My dad died when I was 7. I don't know him,
Yeah.
right? One of the biggest blessings in my life. If it were not for his death, I could not have become the person that I am today. It's impossible, right? So without him knowing it, he's done me the greatest favor. He's literally given his life so that I can have the kind of life that I've got,
Jeez.
Right. And the moment that you begin to understand that, it's taking responsibility. I can't blame my dad. I hear other people, they got this cock life because their dad is not present. And they bullshit. How old are they? They are 30, 40, 50 years. And then they blame their past.
Yeah.
Flip and change your bloody past. In 1982, I decided I'm going to become a better version of what I was at that stage. And I did something to change it. I'm still doing it. Every single day of my life, you can ask my family. Every day I'm working to become a better version of myself. Not a better dad, not a better, that's automatic.
Sure.
You don't have to worry about that. That will come if you become the best version of yourself.
You see optimism seemingly in everything. There's a term I think Jocko Willink in America uses called extreme ownership. Speaking about, I need to own my life, my reality, extremely, and not blame anyone else.
Of course. How can you blame someone else? Now you give them the authority over you.
Correct.
There's a law, cause and effect. You become the effect. Right. But if you want to get somewhere in life, you need to become the cause of your circumstances.
Sure.
You can't cause something if you're not prepared to take full responsibility. Now, there are bad things that happen on a daily basis to billions of people. I've got no control over what the politicians are doing.
Sure.
I've got no control over the inflation rate. I've got no control over the interest rate. I've got no control over what the fuck is going on in Israel, where they bomb the shit out of one another. But I've got control over this part.
Yeah.
And as long as I've got control of this part, no one can control me. You can't put me in a state of unhappiness unless I want to be unhappy. Unless I default to what and when I should act unhappy. Is it making any sense to you?
A lot of sense. Political, I mean, you touched on it. Somewhat controversial, but I might be valuable. In your opinion, and I apologize for putting you on the spot.
Why do you apologize?
I have to apologize because you weren't prepped for these questions and it's almost on the spot.
There's no reason to apologize for anything. You ask, it's up to me to decide if I'm going to answer or not.
Brilliant.
I'm not going to take it personally.
Brilliant.
So stop that bloody apologizing story.
What would you advise that the ANC or the GNU government
Absolutely nothing.
could learn
They're not going to learn anything.
From the apartheid government?
They will never.
And then on the other side, what would you suggest maybe white people could learn from black people? So the one is not race, it's the ANC versus the National Party. And then here it's, what do you think white people could learn from black people today?
What can white people learn about other white people? I'm busy learning something from you.
Sure.
Now, is it because you're a black person or because you're a wonderful person?
I don't know about wonderful, but sure.
No, don't. Be careful for what you say, Peniel. You've got all this potential, but your words have got energy. It's got meaning. The moment that you say, I don't know if I'm giving you a bloody gift.
Thank you.
But you're not prepared to take it.
Yes.
Therefore, I can't give you the gift. Do you see the problem?
True.
So unless you're prepared to accept the fact, there's nothing that I can learn from you. But by accepting the fact and by becoming that person, because that's how I perceive you, then you are giving me the gift of saying, flip, I had an incredible interview today with Peniel. Making sense?
More practical. Is there anything you think our current government could learn from a government that is seen as oppressive, it was bad, that we can say, look, we can isolate the bad, but these are some of the good things that we could have taken, because you're lucky to have grown up in that time and now to be able to compare the two.
Can they even fall and we all have blue caps, pets today? You try to think what other people are going to do. Do you think for one moment they care about this conversation that we've got? Or do you think they're going to do what they have to do and that they want to do? So all the talk about the politicians, that's what they want, by the way. They want division. They want this black-white story.
Sure.
Because the moment that there's a division, we don't focus on who we are. And as long as you don't focus, now the world controls your thoughts. You spend hours and hours discussing what the ANC should do and what's the other party, DA, and what the fuck? You're wasting your time. Why don't you spend that time, if you've got a lot of debt, to start working on the debt? Or if you've got a relation problem, address the relationship problem. Why do you talk about things that's totally irrelevant in your life?
Do you not think we can influence them? Maybe some of them might
How?
listen just with our frequency and our energy and ideas.
I don't think so.
You don't?
No.
You have no faith in politicians.
I've got no faith in someone that control my life. No faith in them. Because they're going to do what is best for them.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. But how am I going to react to what they are busy doing? I know they steal and they do stuff, but it's how does it bother me?
Would you suggest an uprising from
No,
people that are
why?
mentally
The moment
liberated?
that you're going to start to uprise, what are you doing?
You're trying to
You
remove
give them exactly, so that who's going to take over?
We take over.
How are you going to take over? There's
By being
one
the
person
government.
that has got this whole idea, but I will change the world. He's not going to change the world. The moment that he's in that position, the same forces that manipulate the politicians at the moment is going to manipulate the next generation, or they take them out.
Your understanding is that we're just in cycles.
We're in a cycle because unless you break the cycle, you can't. I'm not in the same cycle that I was when I was 22 years of age.
Sure.
Right. But you break the cycle. If you break the cycle, there is no more cycle. But you have to do it. I have to do it. And if we collectively do that because of the energy and the frequency, then all these problems are going to disappear. But check from when it happened, from forever. So we are dealing with energy. But you can't allow that energy to start dictating, because now you're giving them the power over you. And then you can't become the best you that you can be. Or am I wrong here?
I've got a follow-up question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer it. If overnight, for whatever reason, you were made the king or the leader or the dictator of South Africa, what laws would you maybe impose? What vision would you have for the country?
I would not become one, and I'm not interested in that, and therefore I'm not even going to give thought about that.
Sure.
That's not who I am. That's not what's going to please me. That's not going to... I've got no aspirations for anything like that. Okay. And therefore that thought is something that I can rather think about this conversation than how I'm not going to change that and I'm not going to be that. If I wanted to be that, total different story.
Sure.
But
would you
I'm
be
the
wrong
person to ask.
Would you be willing to advise world leaders, Putin, Trump, if you are given the opportunity?
Well, do you think for one moment, if that doesn't fall into their frame of mind, if I tell them the truth, what I believe the truth is, and their truth is different from mine, do you think for one moment, if you look at the psychology of a human being and the way that we act, that they are going to pay any attention to what I'm going to say? Even this amount.
You don't think you can influence them?
No, I don't think. Unless they are open to be influenced. Then it's a different story. But that you don't know. And if they were open to influence, they would not carry on doing the things that they are doing.
For the ordinary South African, complaining, of course, about electricity, water now, corruption, what would you advise them?
Start a business, make a mood of a lot of money, put up solars. We're not complaining about solar or about electricity. We don't complain about water. We've got our own ecosystem. Why should I complain about it? I don't know when the lights are on or off.
Sure.
The lights are always on.
Brilliant.
But I've worked towards that. It didn't happen just because I'm lucky. I've worked for that. Every single plant in my garden, I've designed that. It's not just fallen out of the sky.
Sure.
Right. So the moment that you understand that you design your environment, right? Then life changes.
Yeah.
Now, you can be in the shittiest of environment there is. I was there. I know what I'm talking about. But I can change my mindset in that, because the potential, that thing is the beginning of the potential. That is what ignites the whole process. So I'm extremely grateful that I have been in that situation. And it's because I'm giving acknowledgement of that, that I know that I can grow. I'm not the same person, although I am. But I'm not the same person mentally that I was when I was 24 and a half years of age.
Again, extreme ownership. Everyone should take control of the environment.
It's not
control
extreme
of the reality.
ownership, it's ownership. It's like a lady's pregnant or she's not pregnant. She can't be fucking both. You take responsibility or you don't take responsibility. What's extreme? Are you extremely pregnant or are you...
Just a little bit pregnant.
Yeah, how can you be a little bit pregnant? How can you take a little bit? Either you take responsibility or not taking responsibility.
It sounds like you're speaking about being the God of your life and the God of your environment. Are you religious? Do you believe in God?
I believe in God. I'm not religious at all. At the moment that you're religious, you're back into the... It's like the financial trap.
Sure.
If you believe in money, you believe in money?
Well, that's a tough question
that's your
today.
Trap.
Yeah.
It's a cult, right? That you believe to be money is not money, right? But you believe that, and therefore that is your money.
Sure.
That the religion that you believe, there's 10 billion other, there's 5 billion other people that do not believe that is the right religion.
Sure.
Or am I wrong?
You're right.
So it's as long as you buy into that club, you follow that club's rules and regulations. Otherwise, you have to find another religion.
Correct.
Right. If you do not believe in money the way that the system, you have to find another way. Otherwise, they trap you within that club.
You're 100% correct. How do you explain, how do you define God?
Energy. Everything is energy.
Not a man sitting somewhere looking down.
How can there be a man sitting somewhere? Just use your logic. We've got perception, we've got imagination, we've got just use logic. How can there be a man? No. Is there an incredible energy, all-knowing? Yeah, that I believe in. And that same energy is, if you look at the Hermetic laws, is both positive and negative. Because that's why. If it's not for the negative, how are you going to grow? How will you become a better person if there's no negativity in your life?
Sure, you're right.
It's going to be the most fucking boring life that you'll ever have in your life if everything works out the way that you want it to work out.
Correct.
There has to be that. That is where the juices happens. That's where the emotion happens. That's where the drive happens. That's where the personalities are formed. Right? It's because of the negative. We see it as negative just because of your perception.
Sure.
Someone else, to them, it's positive. It's flipping great. But you decide that it's not. Why? Because of your environment. Because of the environment that you surround yourself or that you grew up. And then you keep on blaming your surroundings. Why don't you move out of your surroundings?
Yes. You spoke about 7 property classes.
Yes.
The 6th one being physical buildings, number 1 being intellectual property. I'm not sure if you'd be willing to indulge us on some of the others.
Let's see this digital business that you've set up here. Can I show you the 7 properties?
You may.
Okay. Where did this podcast, are we busy with the podcast or
Yes,
was it?
This is a podcast.
It's a podcast.
Yes.
Okay. Where did this originate? How did it start? Did you see these cameras and you just say, okay, that camera says I need to do a podcast, or where did it start?
Not at all.
How?
I saw something and I was inspired to come up with an idea for a podcast.
Okay, and how did that idea happen?
I was watching the Joe Rogan Experience a lot. I enjoyed his conversations. I think I know some people who we'd have a nice chat with. We're not American. why not maybe make it happen?
So it was an idea.
Yes.
Okay, that idea, how much is that idea worth to you?
That's a great question. Because when it started, maybe 500 Rand, what it's become today, depending on who you ask, including myself, it could be worth 100,000, millions of dollars.
So it started with an idea.
Correct?
Okay, which is a thought.
Yes.
Which is the first law.
Okay.
The law of mentalism. Okay, how do you get that into reality? What did you do?
I had to use the tools that I had available, starting with my phone.
Okay, those tools that you had available,
yes.
What was the thought behind how to use those tools? Because everyone's got the same tools that
Correct.
you've got. You see, there's a law of correspondence. First within, then without. As above, so below.
Okay.
In other words, this whole setup was in your mind long before it became a reality.
Sure.
The law of cause and effect. So you cause this that we've got here, the effect.
Yes.
Okay. So the first is IP, right? Your skills. That IP means nothing unless you can present it to the world. So this is what we call a prototype, maybe a book, maybe a video.
Sure.
That one video can change your life forever.
Correct.
Right. One video. If it goes viral and people are prepared, it can change your life. That's the second property. So digitally, that is your... The third one, where are people going to find it? We are busy here with the recording.
Sure.
Where will they find it?
On platforms, YouTube specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a website?
For this?
Yeah, in general.
I've got websites for other things, but for this, I'm on YouTube's platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
The third one normally is where you have to find a way, like YouTube. You use YouTube. What are you going to do if YouTube closes your channel tomorrow?
Sure. At least in terms of that platform, we're stuck.
Right. And for that reason, you're not in control of your own future.
Yes.
So you have to find an alternative for that. Now, that alternative is where you take control, which is the third. Where do you host this so that I can come at any stage and know this is where I'm going to find Peniel or the work that he's been doing?
Correct.
You can still use YouTube or Facebook. Those are the rails. That's the fourth class of property. Right. Because you can sell your YouTube channel.
Sure.
People are making millions from selling. They stole the face. No one knows that a big organization has bought them for millions. They carry on, but now they're a syndicate.
Correct.
Right. So that's the fourth property. The fifth one is how do you exchange value? We are busy here with value, hopefully. You want to get value from this.
Yes.
In other words, if you do not have a property that's going to convert that, you may use YouTube. I'm sure that YouTube, in terms of their ads, is minute in terms of the business side that you are running. So the business side I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the AdSense or...
Sure. But for many people, they don't even have that value. It's not even monetized.
It's not even monetized.
Sure.
But that is the fifth one. This is where you put a course. This is where you do a presentation.
Sure.
This is where you stand in front of 10,000 people. They pay to come and see you. How do you get that money and convert the value for the money?
Sure.
That's the fifth property. The sixth one is the property that we are sitting in. The
Sure.
seventh one will be then the business where you buy a business or you get into a business that other people are running.
Okay, those are the 7 property classes.
Yeah.
Geez, thank you. You believe in physical properties as a business?
I don't believe in anything. I don't believe for... I invest in physical properties.
Yes.
And that's actually that's what caused the breakthrough for me.
Okay.
Because I could see it's a completely different thing. But I had the, let's call it the privilege now for 24 years to teach people about property. And I'm telling you that people are so confoculated that The average person, they think property is a great investment. It's the worst investment that they'll ever make in their lives.
Let me actually
they don't know
let me
it.
read this question that I put here for you. What are the biggest lies about property investment, and what are the biggest secrets?
The biggest lie is that property is investment for 99% of the population.
It's not.
It's not an investment. It's a trap. It's a trap that the system set, because the moment that you step in that, you're going to give your life for something that is worth nothing.
Jeez.
Totally nothing. The biggest gift that a property can give you is the moment that you understand that your IGR must be bigger than your FFGR in terms of investment. Your IGR is your investment growth rate.
Okay.
So I did my master's on property as a residential property as an investment instrument. It's just an instrument. Just as this is a container, is an instrument to hold that water.
Sure.
If I don't know how to use this, it's useless.
Yes.
I can have it there. Property
Sitting
is exactly
empty,
the
doing
same
nothing.
thing.
Yeah.
A property for most people is going to cause them, without them knowing it, their freedom. Because it's most of the time is the biggest investment, single investment that they do.
Yes.
They work their dingers los to get this bloody money to buy the property.
Yeah.
I've got this property, and the lie starts there. Do you have property?
Yes.
Is this your property?
No.
Okay, the property that you've got, you're sure that you've got it? You're not lying to me.
I'm not lying to you, no.
Okay, do you have a bond over that property?
No, luckily, not anymore.
Okay, when you bought a property, were there any bonds?
Yes.
Okay, did you say to people, come and bride tonight at my place?
Friends, maybe?
Yeah,
Yes.
but did you?
Yes.
So at my place.
Yes.
Now, why did you lie to them?
That's my understanding of what it is. Because
That's where the problem comes in, Penny.
Sure.
Because it wasn't yours. It belonged to the bank.
Mm.
If there's a bond over a property, it does not belong to you. It belongs to the bank.
Mm.
Now you start working in order to pay that property.
Sure.
Right. That money that you are making, what's the value of that money?
As an income?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
It's because we don't understand questions that we don't query anything.
Sure.
What's the value of money?
Whatever you can do with it.
Money's got no intrinsic value.
True.
Okay, so it's got no intrinsic value. How can it be valuable?
Only if I can use it.
Only
For
because
intrinsic
of
things.
a perception.
Sure.
So we give our life for a perception. The most valuable thing that you've got, your mind,
Mm.
your time, your effort.
Mm.
For 8 hours per day, you become the slave of someone else.
Correct.
You're his slave. We don't want to call that the slave. If he says fucking jump, you jump.
Yes.
Or you get fired.
Yes.
You're true. Right. So you give the most valuable thing that you've got for a thing that has got no value except for the digital printing.
Yes.
Right. So you bought that property. Let's say you apply for a bond of R1 million
Mm.
with the bank. Right? The bank, how much money did they have to give you so that they could charge you interest on that?
The assumption is they had R1 million to pay the owner.
Okay, what's the truth?
Depending on your understanding of fractional reserve lending.
In South
But now
Africa, it's 2.5%.
we're going deeper now for ordinary folk.
No. It's because ordinary folks, we've got the problem that we've got because no one is squaring the ordinary folks. They're not querying themselves.
Sure.
And because they're not querying, they blame the world.
Of course.
They should blame themselves because they don't understand. If you don't understand, you are at risk. Warren Buffett said risk is when you do not understand what you're doing. These people are at risk, but they don't know they're at risk.
Yeah.
And they think they are the effect, right, of the environment. It's not true. The moment that they switch their mind and they understand that they give their life for absolutely nothing, their energy, for something that is printed where it doesn't exist, and then you slave for 20 years to pay off that thing. If that thing is, you can't convert that so that your investment that you do there is more than what you need, why the hell will you buy a property? To stay a slave? Why?
This is what the world has taught us to do.
Break it. that's a message that you can start promoting
Sure.
to help the people to become a better version of themselves. Because they can't become a better version as long as their minds and themselves are enslaved to the system.
Your advice to someone who wants to or who is in property investment is, number one, understand that for 99% of people, it's not an investment. They want to get into the 1%. How do they start? Where do they
Very
shift?
simple. You do a sum. You say, okay, there are 27 variables in a property.
This is a real number, 27.
Yeah, there are 27 variables.
Okay.
Your bond is a variable. In terms of your bond, the time that you're going to pay, the
Sure.
interest that you're going to pay, these are variables.
Yes.
The deposit that you're going to put down on a house or not is a variable. The market value is a variable. Right? The price that you paid for is another variable. So these variables, there are 27 universal.
Sure.
Universal, there are 27 variables. Now, some of the properties you can apply 7 or 6 of these variables. Those variables are going to say, okay, but how much does it cost you? And what's the equity that you're going to build up in this over a period of time? Right? So when I exit, what will, like a unit trust, you pay blah, 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 and
Sure.
they give you, and they say the growth on that unit trust was 8%.
Yeah.
Why? Because if you cash in today and you've put in all this money, you calculate it's 8%.
Sure.
The same with the property. In other words, at any stage, I could say this is perceived to be the market value or a fair market value. Based on this, this is the amount of money that I've put in by structuring 24 variables. This is the growth that I'm going to get. If that growth is not more than you need for the amount of money that you've got available in order to get your goal, that property is a bloody bad property, because that property is going to keep you from investing in the right property or in the right investment, not necessarily property, to be able to get to where you want to be. So what you do is you first start, where do I want to be? When do I want to be there? Right? What is your freedom number? Taking inflation into consideration. You know what? One of the tools that I'm going to give you, you can decide if you want to give it to other people, is how I discovered all of this in 1987 as a certified financial planner those days, where I saw that if I follow the system, right? I think Lara yesterday, I tested something on her on this engine. If she wants to follow the system in order to get to where she want to be in the time frame, she needs to, let's say, I'm not going to give her figures away, but let's say she has to spend something like 320,000 Rand per month if she wants her to achieve her number within her time frame.
Yes.
That is more money, 300% more than what she's earning.
Sure.
Or that she's taking home, or that she's got.
Sure.
Okay, how's that possible? So that dream is immediately gone.
Yeah.
So the system, either you're going to work longer or you have to give them more. But you can't give them more than 100% of what you earn.
Sure.
So now you postpone. Right. So the moment that you know what I want, say for example 10 million.
Yes.
I've only got 1,000 Rand. When I started, there were X amount. We call it limited resources. It's not infinite. It's finite. Right. Now, how hard must this 1,000 Rand work in 10 years' time to give me 10 million?
Sure.
65%, more or less. So if that property that I'm buying can't give me 65% or more,
I'm wasting my time. I must go look at
you're
other
wasting
assets,
your time.
other
Because
investments.
the moment that you're locked into this, you take out all the other opportunities that may be presented. So the moment that you make a decision in your life, you collapse all other possibilities that you've got.
Jeez, that's so deep.
All possibilities.
The moment you make a decision in your life, you've collapsed all other possibilities.
That's the decision.
Jeez. I want us to stop here. Oh. Yeah, no, this is a lot.
You don't have to broadcast this.
I think we got into all my questions. Wamanus, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your education, your passion. You're a liberator. You may not be religious, but you know, I'd compare you to Moses in the Bible. Of
Lekker.
course, it's a story, but the idea of liberating the Israelites from the Egyptians. I'm not religious, by the way, but I like stories because stories help people imagine. To the normal person out there, Egypt could be a state of mind, could be a system. The Israelite is the potential that you have inside you. If you cannot be your own Moses, I appreciate that I find people like you who can be the Moses for other people to say, look, I will not come to your house and drag you out of your job and take you out of this investment, but I will give you the tools to start unlocking your mind, and that becomes your escape from Egypt. How long you wander in the desert, it's completely up to you, but there is a promised land if you're willing to put in the work. For the books you've written, for the videos you've made, for the courses that you offer, which I'm going to add add in the description and add the details, I just want to say thank you. Big shout out from my side to Laura and Vincent for bringing you here. I appreciate that very much. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to close on.
I'd like to give the book Formula for Riches so that they can read it if they want to. Then there's an engine tool to show you that it's impossible within the system to retire or to become...
It's impossible.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
That's going to be interesting. Oh, in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
That's the...
If you want to work 40 years and retire with a salary, which means you've never reached your full potential, unless that is your potential.
True.
Right. So within a 10-year period or shorter than that.
Yeah.
The second thing is the moment that you do your financial planning around property and not the system, it's called the Financial Freedom Planner. I'll make maybe a video or something so that I can guide them a little bit on that. And then I'd like to give another gift, believe it or not, the debt eradication, to show you what is possible for the average household here in South Africa. If you've got a bond and you've got a car or 2 cars and a credit card, what you can do with the same, without spending a cent more, the moment that you've got a structure, what can happen in a very, very short time, first of all, to eradicate all that debt, save yourself millions and millions, and get to freedom in, depending on your situation, in 10 years' time, 5 years' time, without earning a cent more than what you're earning at the moment. Would you use something like that? Or
no,
do you
most
think
definitely.
your audience can?
I'm gonna use it, and then I'll see if I can sell it to them, or maybe I'll see
free.
if.
It's for free.
It's for free from Johannes. I don't know about from me. Hey, Dr. Johannes Dreyer, thank you so much. And look, I'm going to share something we shared off camera. I apologize again, but with your blessing, thank you for saying that your wife is your favorite human being of all time. That is inspiring.
It wasn't a lie. It was the truth.
He wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. He said it off camera. Thank you for sharing that. The way your mind is set up is inspirational to me. And I hope to many other people. And I hope that just from my platform and from yours, we can leverage those and be able to inspire and ignite as many other minds as possible.
I think we can.
Baie dankie, Johannes.
Dankie vir jou. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.